People at home, you're watching the next episode of Fun. Well, you're not watching the next one. You're watching this episode, the current one of Fun Time Good Show. We're broadcasting live today from Zeus Comics out on Inwood, and I don't know why I don't need these today.
What? I can't hear.
What? Without it.
Can you hear?
Today we're going to be talking to the owner Richard for a little bit about what it's like selling comics. We have a guest on the show. Who is this?
Somebody here.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, some stranger wandered in from the street.
Looks like one of the performers from Oddball Fest has wandered on stage. And I'm assuming it's Jeff Ross.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're going to be talking with Clint Werth today. And we're just going to be hanging out here. Here's what it looks like. We're going to be hanging out in the store today. This is
the store.
The store, Zeus Comics down in Inwood. And I want to take a few seconds. So you had a question earlier, Matt.
I had lots of questions.
I kind of want to revisit this one. By the way, I'm sorry. I have a horrible cough, so I'm going to be sucking on a cough drop. So if my voice seems less sexy today than usual, I apologize to all the people at home.
Right.
I noticed it was slightly less.
Did you? Yeah, I was hoping it wouldn't come across, but it really, really did.
Yes, I recall the question. The question was, what's the difference between a comic book and a graphic novel?
Yeah, and as I explained to you earlier, the graphic novel is kind of a long story arc that's meant to be bound into one collected piece, and most comic books now are graphic novels. They're just serialized and then combined later. But originally, comic books were just something to sell ads to kids, and so there was a lot of empty fluff. But I thought it was a really interesting question. So now you really can't get something published unless you have a good long story arc that they're going to bind into a book later. Then they're going to say, okay, well, how do we break that up to still sell ads?
Right.
But it's a little more. It's got a little more integrity now.
So they don't do these for free? That's what you're saying? There's no free stuff in comic books?
Well, there's a lot of people that do produce stuff for free. So
they're called poor.
That's exactly what they are. So, Clint, I want to talk to you a little bit about. We talked about the Oddball Fest a while back, but I want to know, as a performer, what was that like?
The performance side of it was pretty awesome because, from what I was expecting, having never been to JEXA, having never done an outdoor amphitheater, they told us the side stage was going to be near the entrance where people are coming in, and so I was expecting people just to constantly be walking by. As I'm telling jokes.
Cartwheeling?
Yeah, well, they didn't let them into the actual main stage area, so they were all penned off in a captive audience. So probably about 1,000 people. Just kind of pinned in that little area where
forced to
sell
listen to
drinks.
your tirade.
Yes, exactly.
Sexist, misogynistic, pro-Nazi tirade.
Yes,
you're so well known for. Well, I mean, how did they respond to you?
Well, I usually you don't want to go up very first, which I did, like first.
Oh, right, yeah.
But Brody Stevens was the host. He did a pretty good job.
Brody Stevens
did a good job of warming him up and all, getting him ready for comedy. And so, they weren't worn out. That's what I noticed. Is after 3.5 hours, if they watched me go on stage, and they were there for 5.5 hours by the time Louis C.K. walked
What time did you go
on
stage?
Like 5:12.
Wow.
There's still 1,000 people there just to get good seats in the lawn. Because that's the other thing, is they just sell as many lawn tickets as possible.
Right, yeah. They don't.
I've heard estimates between 10,000 and 20,000 people.
Yeah, I think I heard there were 20,000 people
which
there.
Is insane. It boggles my mind just thinking about that.
Who's your favorite performer?
I mean, Louis C.K. is obviously my favorite. He's the guy I look up to. However, towards the end of his set, I'd realized I'd spent about $60 on beer, and I wasn't drunk, and I wanted tacos, and I didn't want to get caught in traffic. So I went, because I knew like all the taco places around there were about to close before midnight, and I didn't want to get stuck.
Was horrible going on.
So
Matt had the right idea with public transportation. That was I should have done that.
I went and stood by the side of the stage. To kind of, as soon as he was done, I was going to leave, but I still wound up missing about half of his set, just being distracted. But Hannibal Buress was awesome. I'm a big fan of his already, so it was cool to see him. I think he looks weird without glasses. He got the LASIK surgery.
Yeah, that was.
And he has very tiny eyes.
He's not as funny with the glasses. I gotta admit, the glasses really made him.
Some people look better with glasses. It's just it's a thing, and so it's weird. Like my dad had a mustache for most of my childhood.
And the mustache
and then
had
when he cut it off.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He didn't look right.
I went a whole different direction
with
that.
Anymore. He was some dude with.
Whenever my dad shaves, he looks like a pedophile, and it's awful. I hate when he shaves.
But I don't know. That's all I'd ever seen him as. The glasses are such a big part of it, and without it, I don't know. It's weird.
I don't think he's.
That's why I won't cut my hair.
I thought that was for legal reasons.
They might actually see what I really look like.
So who's your favorite performer that night, besides you?
Hannibal Buress, I would say.
I think, I mean, he really commanded that stage. He dominated on there.
I'm not a super huge Whitney Cummings fan.
Yeah, I'm not either. I could take her or leave her, to be honest.
Sarah Silverman,
I've seen her be stronger than that performance.
I like her as a comedian as a whole, but not necessarily as a stand-up comic. If you get what I'm saying.
I'll completely agree. Her show was hilarious.
Yeah.
But her stand-up, it feels like she's filling time a lot of times during her stand-up of just talking and asking questions, but it's not really going anywhere.
A lot of her stuff, I feel, is where it gets shocking for the sake of shocking.
Yeah.
And I remember watching, there was something, it was like the Comedians of Comedy live at some theater, and it was, the four guys from the Comedians of Comedy, and then a bunch of other alt comics. So they brought out Sarah Silverman and like 9-10 people, and all of them were just doing like abortion jokes, 9/11 jokes. But they were only doing like 5 or 10 minutes, so it wasn't really like deep bits that had a bigger purpose. It was just nonstop trying to shock you, and it gets old.
Yeah, how about Maron's 12 minutes on ice cream?
I thought that was great.
It was great, but I certainly didn't expect that to go over as well.
I wasn't a big fan of Maron's stand-up until I saw that. I actually ignored his Netflix special because from what I had seen of him, especially after he got his podcast, it was a lot of like me.
That's pretty much
There's
that's
nothing that really related beyond that.
You
and
can't
that's kind of what his radio show was.
You can't relate to a mustache guy who owns 2 cats.
And cats.
Yeah. I mean, did you ever watch the TV show, Maron?
Yeah.
That's good. I like that a lot, too.
I think after watching that, I was like, okay, maybe he's not as bad as I thought. Because I enjoyed the podcast, but I just couldn't stomach his stand-up.
I think that was the only time I've ever seen him do stand-up. I don't think I've ever...
And I think that's why he was kind of unknown for 20 years.
Yeah.
Which there was a certain amount of bitterness behind that
that's
led
all
to
he
him
is bitterness.
still
I
being...
don't think he's bitter.
But I thought what I saw at Oddball was a lot more palatable.
All right, guys, so what are we going to talk about on the show today besides... We did Oddball. We're going to talk a little bit about the movie Tusk, which I literally know like 2 sentences about. That's a new Kevin Smith movie that I keep hearing it's crazy. Johnny Depp is in it, you were saying?
Yes, Johnny Depp's kid, and Kevin Smith's kid.
That is so weird. And what's it
the
about?
Apple guy.
The Apple guy, what's that?
Justin Long.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
The Apple guy. I haven't. It's a horror movie. I don't really know what it's about either. Tusks. That's all in Tusks. That's what it's about.
You ever heard about this at all, Michael?
Yeah, I heard it was like the human centipede except with walruses.
There you go.
That's amazing. Yeah, people were just tweeting about it like when it was showing at the Toronto Film Festival, I think, and people were just like live tweeting like, "This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life," but nobody's revealing anything about the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited to go see that. It's supposed to get a release around December, I think. A good Christmas horror movie.
He did a screening of it, I think a week ago, and he did a Q&A with all the theaters afterwards.
Really?
Yeah. Live stream.
Can't believe we missed that.
Yeah, you snoozed on that.
Am I the only one who feels like we're broadcasting from like a library? Like we're using our inside voices?
Oh yeah, why are we doing that? We've got plenty of... Hello everybody. And this is, it's Richard off camera, yeah. Yeah, why are we doing that? Let's speak up a little bit. So I was thinking podcast, yours are reserved. I kind of liked
it though.
Okay, then we'll go back.
We were getting in some serious film.
Yeah, like maybe we were disturbing all the people in here. It's like they can't browse properly like a comic books.
It's got a very NPR feel to it. I like it.
Yeah, I like that too. We are known for hard-hitting, deep coverage on topics. Well, so you were talking about something earlier today that was interesting to you.
Sure. What movie was I watching yesterday? Knockaround Guys. Have you ever seen that classic?
Mm-mm.
A little Vin Diesel action for you. Him and
him with hair now is ridiculous. Have you seen him with the hair and the beard?
Creepy.
I did very weird to me.
Very creepy. So him and Barry Pepper are knockaround guys from Brooklyn,
mm-hmm.
and their dad sends them out. Their dad's in the mob. Dennis Hopper, great Dennis Hopper, and he sends.
So let me get this straight. Dennis Hopper.
Yes.
Is Vin Diesel and Barry Pepper's dad?
Just Barry Pepper's.
Okay.
No,
all right.
Come on, dude. Don't be ridiculous.
Adopted, kid.
Okay. All right.
He's the muscle.
That's believable. Yeah.
So they lose some money and they got to go find it out in the middle of Montana. And you can imagine, it's a fish out of water tale.
Mm-hmm.
There's some ass whoopings, and it's good times. Kind of recommend it. I wouldn't say highly. But if you got 90 minutes to kill.
That's good. You know what I watched last night?
What's this?
Joe Dworski's Dune, the
Yeah.
Oh,
documentary.
I haven't seen it yet. Okay, so you've seen it.
Loved it.
Okay, what did you think? Because I'm kind of not I'm holding out on it. I just haven't had time for you.
I thought it was pretty great. I knew of the way that all the people that had worked on this project and then went on to become huge people. I thought it was interesting. He had Mobius, who's the famous
Mobius, a couple of things right back there behind us somewhere.
famous French illustrator, and then H.R. Geiger,
Of course, yeah.
and who else? Dan O'Bannon.
And it was Geiger's work on that. They got him the job on Aliens.
Well,
They saw him the work.
Dan O'Bannon was the screenwriter for Alien, who Joe Dworski had brought in to do the special effects for Dune. And when it didn't happen, then he wrote Alien, and then they brought in Geiger, Mobius, and then I can't remember, it was an Englishman who had illustrated.
Captain Picard.
Yes, he had painted a bunch of sci-fi posters, and so he brought him in to do some of the designs of spaceship. And so Mobius and that guy were both the storyboard artists and pre-production guys, and then of course Geiger created the Alien. But and then just seeing how, because it's just this book he has, they said it would have been like a 14-hour long movie.
Oh wow.
And so he has a book of all the storyboards and character designs and stuff, and it's massive. It's like a cinder block.
Oh wow.
And they said they took it to all the studios.
For the people that don't know, I mean, they can obviously like Wikipedia it real fast, but Jordanowski.
Mhm.
What are some of the other things he's done? Because he did the Holy Mountain, which
Mountain.
was amazing, Matt. Yeah. You got me into that, and that's one of the craziest films I've ever seen. One of the best endings ever. So I assume you've seen it.
Yeah.
So what's the way you always phrase it to people? Because there's the one scene where they turn shit into gold.
Yep.
And he's like, if that scene, yeah, literally turns it into gold. So if that's okay, you're okay with that. The rest of the movie you'll be fine with.
And then there was El Topo.
Classic.
Yeah.
Which is like it's described as acid western.
Which
which is exactly what it is. Yeah. But he made El Topo, and then he made Holy Mountain.
Yeah,
and then
El Topo's
Dune
the one I
was
can't
gonna
seem to get my hands on. I can't. I even tried not pirate baying it, and I can't seem to get my hands on that one.
On which one?
El Topo?
Oh,
It's
Criterion's got it.
yeah, it's out there
Man,
somewhere.
I can't find it. Okay.
They were midnight movie classics, and so they're out there.
Yeah, that's
somewhere.
the whole.
I wouldn't be surprised if
All right,
Criterion.
then I'm gonna be stopping over. We're gonna be watching that one.
Joe Rossi box set nights.
We'll
Just
do.
as long as we can. Did you like Santa Sangre? I wasn't a big fan. That was his movie that he did in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Just a little too odd for me.
Yeah.
That one I think I got about 10 minutes in. I realized I wasn't paying attention for 10 full minutes, and I was like, oh, I'll come back to this one.
I watched that one in my early 20s when I was just binging on all the, classic, the underground subculture classics I hadn't seen yet, and most of them are just lost in a haze of drugs and booze while watching them.
Oh, yeah, double feature Holy Mountain and Sallow. That's a good night for you.
Oh man, good lord! I don't know if I can make it through both of those together. Holy cow! Go home and watch Sallow now. People watching.
Yeah, forget about
go,
us.
Go watch that. It's amazing. So, there's a few things coming on TV now. We got the Simpsons. Simpsons Family Guy crossover.
Right.
South Park just started up again.
Sure.
And what else? Brooklyn Nine-Nine is going to be coming on.
The B99, as they say on Comedy Bang Bang.
I assume Sandberg was on there the other day. Okay, that's a great podcast right there. So, do you ever watch the Comedy Bang Bang show?
No, I couldn't get into the podcast. I'll probably revisit it.
The show's a little better. You got more, obviously more visuals. It'd be very weird if it's just the logo for the entire 30 minutes.
I did like James Adomian when he was on it, and you do voices. I think he's one of the.
Paula Tompkins is great when he's on there doing voices. He does because what he does, he picks real people from history that are still alive, and then just like he does
Or he does Werner Herzog.
He does Werner
I was working
Herzog.
on my own Werner Herzog impersonation. Someone's like, "Oh, you're just doing Paula Tompkins."
So he does that, and then he does the guy who writes the musicals, not Sondheim. For the life of me, I can't remember. So let's just say it is Sondheim. But he's over, like he wears a cape and he comes out and he's like, "Hello." It's obviously not at all a realistic interpretation of the person.
Mm-hmm.
He just says, "Oh, Gary Marshall, the director of like films from the 80s and 90s," but he talks like this, and he's like, "Let me say," nothing like the guy at all. I love it. Best line is, "Scott, Listen, I'm a very old man. I'm going to die soon. Don't let my life be filled up with your tedious voice. It's one of the best lines you ever did. No, picking the ones with Paul Tompkins, those are pretty good. Or Brendan Small, the guy who does Metalocalypse.
Yeah, big fan.
He always has a character called Bernie Fretz, and he's a corporate guitar musician that goes to corporate events, and he plays guitar and does stand-up comedy. And that's just one of the greatest characters I've ever heard.
I'll have to check that out. I'm a huge fan of Brendan Small.
Yeah, he's been on 2 or 3 times now, and I think he's on this season on the TV show. So I'm very very excited. He always describes himself as having like a ponytail, but the ponytail's clip-on because people expect the ponytail to rock. So that's always great.
Do you remember going in the Wayback Machine to 105.3? You remember the Mitch show at all?
Which?
The Mitch.
No, I used to work there.
He used to.
Yeah.
The Mitch was a guy. He was originally the producer for Ron and Don.
Okay.
He weighed like 400 pounds, so they called him the Michelin Man,
No,
and then the Mitch for short.
No, I've never.
He had an overnight show for a while back in like 2002, about the time we were there.
Yeah.
And his sidekick, who was also named Brian, did the best impressions ever. He did like a killer Anton LaVey.
Oh, holy cow!
All these weird. He would do like weird guys, like David Lynch, stuff like that. I'm trying to get him out of retirement
Get him
from
on the
doing
show.
radio.
We'll bring him on as character.
I want to do a show where you just interview like weird people. It was inspired by that picture of Danzig buying cat litter.
Hold on,
So
I
it's
gotta
like
look this
we
up,
talk to weird people, you know.
I'm looking this up right now.
And but they're just talking about mundane things, like Werner Herzog at IKEA. Ideas like that. That's going to be the next great podcast. That if I can just get him, it's all him. I can't do the voices. I do one voice. It's gruff.
Yeah, he does the Clint Werth
I can do
voice.
McGruff the crime dog.
Let's hear it.
That's about it. I'm doing it right now.
Oh, is it okay?
It's always on.
You don't even sound like yourself today.
Trying to stop crime.
I'll tell you what. We're gonna take a quick little break, and we're gonna come back with Richard from Zeus Comics. We're going to be talking with him for a few minutes about what it's like to run a comic book store, which to me is going to be like one of the most enjoyable jobs there possibly is.
Living the dream over here.
So you're watching Fun Time Good Show. We're broadcasting live today from Zeus Comics out on Inwood. Feel free to stop in, join us, purchase some stuff.
Only while we're here, though.
Only while we're here, though. As soon as we're gone, do not pay. No, obviously come in and patronize the place. Don't patronize Richard, though. It's very insulting to him. He doesn't like that at all. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. There we go. Back. We're back here with Richard.
Hey, that's me.
Owner of Zeus Comics.
Correct.
You've been on the show once before.
True, yeah.
And it was
And you came
what
back.
a treat for you.
I came back. It
I
took a
can't
little
believe we
while.
got that score, yeah. And that was back when you were doing the variants.
Exactly,
Is that
yeah.
still going on? What's going on with the variants?
Uh,
Wrapped it after 3 seasons?
yeah, after 3 seasons, there's only so long you can play an outrageously gay character who owns a comic book shop. That's not real life.
Tell Ellen that. Man,
Yeah,
that she owned a comic book shop, right? That was the premise, if I remember Ellen correctly. No idea. So you've been focusing mainly on the business. Now, y'all moved because you used to be...
We used to be on Lemon Avenue. We moved over to Inwood about 2 years ago to a space. It's twice the size of the location.
I love it. Yeah, it
on
looks great.
Lemon, and some good friends of ours got to open up a game shop next door, Common Ground Games.
We're going to be trying to get them on, too. Very excited.
Yeah. He's doing really, really well, and being here for about a year. Very proud of him to see him. He worked here part time for some summers, and at some point, and did his own corporate job, and like I did with this, got to the point where I don't want to do this anymore, and he opened up a game store.
So tell me a little bit how Zeus got founded here, because for me that's just to be able to go into that, I'm going to sell comics for a living. It just seems like something that would be so. I don't know if it would be risky or not, but it's just not a decision like. Gosh, I don't know. I just don't know how you get into that.
Well, I mean, everybody has this fantasy of what it is to own a comic shop, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, but it is really a lot of work.
Oh, well, never mind, I'm out then.
No, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. I was doing oil and gas. I realized I wasn't doing what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and I opened up a comic book store. I looked around and tried to make sure that I wasn't on anybody else's kind of block, and I tried to make sure to do something a little bit different and those kinds of things. And if somebody wants to open up a comic shop, do it, but it is a lot of work.
How did you get into comics to begin with?
Oh, I was 7 and I was
hoping you'd be like, I hate them.
Oh my God,
it's a really good business to get into. I'm doing it for the money.
What are you talking about?
It's all about the money for me.
No, No, I just started. Comics were one of the things that taught me how to read when I was a kid, and I just kind of grew up really passionate about them. I definitely started off as a DC person versus a Marvel person.
That's how I started out too.
More recent, probably even I've shifted probably more as a Marvel person than a DC person. And Image has a ton of amazing comic books out there right now.
I'm a big fan of the IDW as well.
IDW
they're putting out a lot of the Ninja Turtles and the Ghostbusters.
They're doing really well. Oni does well. Boom Studios does well. There's a lot of really good publishers.
They were doing all my DuckTales for a while until they lost the license
well,
for that.
I'm sure it's probably going to end up at Marvel at some point, right?
I think that's what they're
They've
saying.
got Marvel has Figment right now, and they just finished Seekers of the Weird, which are all Disney properties. So
I don't know that one. Okay, yes, they need that and Darkwing Duck.
Yeah,
I need to bring those back. What's your favorite comic book? Do you have one?
Oh, that's really tough.
Yeah, I know. I asked tough, hard-hitting questions.
At least.
Or some of your favorites, yeah.
The East of West right now being produced over at Image by Jonathan Hickman, and
what's that about?
It's kind of a
that's a loaded question.
yeah, it's kind of it's really complicated. It's definitely a book that you could almost see animated. It has an alt history in which the Earth or the nations are divided up into 7 nations. There's like a Native American nation, kind of an Old West cowboy nation. There's like the continent of Asia is its own nation, and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse have kind of returned. And so there's a faction within these nations that want to bring about the apocalypse, and so they're working with them secretly with the 4 horsemen. However, Death has decided not to be a part of it. This doesn't make any sense.
It feels very Terry Pratchett or Neil Gaiman to me, like Good Omens. I like that.
Well, you guys just finished talking about Dune, and honestly, after watching that documentary, there's a level of
I've got to go see that.
No, it's amazing, but there's a level of the stuff that's happening east of west that is so grand that you get the same sense of it.
Wow.
There is the way they incorporate some demon aspects in it reminds me of like Kaneda from Akira. I mean, it's gorgeously done. So Death is now searching for a son. He's in Old West get up, and there is a sci-fi element to it. They've got mechanical horses. I mean, it's really
who's the writer and producer?
Jonathan Hickman. He's also writing The Avengers. He does another one of my favorite books, Manhattan Projects. And I have to say it's probably one of my number ones.
What's one of the worst things you've read recently?
Oh, I love all comic books.
No, we're not doing
There's
that.
not a bad comic book out there.
You know what I really think was really good? It came out a few years ago, but The Misadventures of Adam West. I was like, oh, I'm sure it'll be just campy, and I just bought it for fun. It was really good. Like, they seriously were like, okay, we've got a great story. Let's just put Adam West in it. It wasn't written like I thought it would be like a vehicle for Adam West. Mm-hmm. No, not at all. They wrote an amazing Western piece, and they were like, let's just have Adam West be a Western sheriff for absolutely no reason, and it works. It works so well. Or he's time traveling. That's what it is. He's an astronaut in one, a sheriff in one, but it really works, and I was very, very happy with that.
We had the book here. I didn't get a chance to read it. It was definitely a big hit. It kept selling out every time we'd get copies of it in. Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, the storyline was great. They could have put any character in there, and I would still give that a 5 out of 5. Huh? So. Rare. For him. What else has been good that I've been reading? I'm a big fan of Jeff Johns. He just wrapped up Forever Evil. I think he's doing Justice League now.
He's on Justice League right now.
And he left Green Lantern, which they hit a nice closing off.
I mean, there's a rumor, I don't know if it's substantiated, that he might be doing a Shazam book, which would be interesting.
I know he's a fan of that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm also a fan of Bendis. I like Miles Morales' Ultimate Spider-Man. That's one of my favorite books. I just finished catching up on that this morning.
You know who I found out right? Brian Posehn, the stand-up comedian? Oh, yeah. I did not know he wrote Deadpool.
Yeah, he's doing Deadpool.
I had no, and then Henry Shear. Not Henry Shear. Paul Shear, from the guy with the gap in his teeth who's on the League. He's writing Deadpool now, too. I'm like, that's great that stand-up comedians are kind of finding a new little niche for doing humor. I mean, I think that's really cool.
Deadpool is like printing money. I mean, you can put Deadpool on the cover of something and people want to buy it. It's insane, the popularity of that character alone.
I've only recently gotten into him. People kept saying, you'll love it. It's hilarious. It's funny. So about six months ago, I finally grabbed it. I think it was Deadpool versus Carnage. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is great. This character's awesome.
No, there was a point probably like in the 90s and early 2000s where Wolverine was like the go-to Marvel character who was very popular. And then it kind of waned and it kind of shifted to Deadpool. So it's kind of interesting to see,
taking a movie, right?
For Deadpool, yeah. Fox, I think, has put it on the schedule.
All right, I'll watch that.
2018.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for Good Guys to come back on air. So Did you watch Good Guy Shot Here in Dallas
No.
with Colin Hanks and who's the other guy? The bad guy from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, you know what was so funny? Colin Hanks.
Hanks. What did I
Colin
say?
Hanks.
Farrell?
Colin Hanks.
Yeah.
No, Colin Hanks.
Same
He
guy.
was. He actually came into the store a couple of times, but we didn't know it was him until after he had left. And I think he was getting private Pilates lessons at the Pilates studio that was above us on Lemon Avenue.
Yeah.
But he had one of those, cars that runs on air from California that would park in the front that had California plates. So it was like, oh wait, that's.
So he
Colin
didn't
Hanks.
walk in and be like, all right, everybody stop, it's me, Colin Hanks.
No, he totally
Everybody's-
came in and would like hang out for 45 minutes between Pilates sessions and would like totally read our comic books. I'm not sure
Wow.
he bought anything.
The show was great. And Fox bought a second season. They gave him the money to produce it and everything. And they said we'll make room for it on the schedule. It's been 5 years, and Fox is still like, no, it's still on air. We're waiting for a time slot.
I think you just glossed over something Richard said. He said he's cheap. He said he didn't.
Oh,
bring
cheap?
any-
Really?
No.
Breaking news. That's an exclusive on the show. Colin Hanks hates comic books and refuses to spend money with local businesses. We're gonna get sued.
Well, that's Fox's history, though, right? I mean, we've got Gotham's on the air that just premiered this week, and we have no idea what Fox's commitment is going to be to it long term. Even if you enjoyed the show,
Yeah,
we have
that's
no
very
faith
true.
that Fox, even a good show, is going to continue staying on the air.
They just. It seems like they intentionally drop the good ones and keep the bad
They
ones
keep
running.
Sleepy Hollow.
I can't, yeah, exactly. I can't figure that one out.
Sleepy Hollow is not that bad.
No, it's
I know Taft's a big fan of that one. I haven't.
Now, have you
Watched
guys?
it
Did
yet.
you guys watch the premiere of Gotham?
No, it is on my DVR. I've just been so busy with doing nothing with my life. It takes up a lot of my time being a loser.
It was actually really good.
I heard if you go in with low expectations, you'll be pleasantly surprised. That's all. That's kind of what I've heard. I think I heard that from you, as a matter of fact. Now I think. But I heard just don't expect it. Just go in and enjoy the show, and you'll enjoy it.
It was a good first start. Again, like most pilots, you're
Well, I
not
said
sure
pilots
that the
are
writers
really
know the
hard.
characters,
Yeah.
the actors know the characters. It's got its foot in both worlds, in this Gotham reality and in a crime drama.
Okay.
And the first episode couldn't decide which one it wanted to be, and I almost wish it would pick kind of
I gotcha.
one and go in that direction. But you can't really flesh out these villains and never give
Well,
us
that's
Batman.
because you're gonna be, and they divide it between like what 4 villains? It's Penguin, Catwoman,
a new character, Fish Money,
new
by
character,
Jacob
that's right.
Pickett, Yeah,
and so they're gonna have to spend a lot of time jumping back and forth and not really establishing
Edward Nygma
one.
pops in this episode.
Let's see. I'm excited. I don't care. I like DC. I'm a big DC fan, and so I'll enjoy anything pretty much, just because I like seeing the characters. I like seeing the world evolve. I like seeing it change. Except for Smallville, after season 1, I got bored. Except for the episode with Booster Gold. I own that. That's the one episode I
I
really
actually
like.
gave up on Smallville after about a season or two for the fact that it could not decide what it wanted to be. And then,
Yeah, I
like
just
towards the end, it was like all superheroes all the time, just not Superman, right? I mean,
Right.
that's what I got. Like, here's Stunt this week. Here's Hawkman.
Oh
Stunt
yeah,
this week, here's
and I had
JSA,
friends that
here's-
followed all the way to the end, and they were like, "Oh, it's just about who's going to be the cameo this week."
Yeah.
Like that's just what it became, and that's just not kind of the story I really wanted to see. I wanted to see him develop into Superman,
Exactly. Yeah.
and I never quite got that. But I guess prequels like that. I mean, I wanted to see him become Darth Vader, and that sucked too, So I don't know. Oh, get this. So they're going to be writing Harry Potter prequels now, so I'm a little worried about that.
Time for some more money.
Yeah, exactly. She gave so much money to charity.
Wait, is
So
she going to be writing them?
She's going to be writing them, and I'm just like, oh no, because I love the Harry Potter books, and but she's like, well, I think I'm going to do Harry's time as an orphan. I'm like, no, that is so boring. No, because the only reason Harry Potter's good is there's a villain. If the villain is just his uncle that you kind of don't like, that's not. I don't need 7 books of that. I have no interest in reading about Oliver Twist. 2, I guess, would kind of be what it is. Listen to the stairwell.
Part 2.
So yeah, that's I'm a little worried about that because the other books, like the Magical Creatures books, stuff like that, have been pretty bad. So I'm really.
I have a confession. I haven't actually read Harry Potter. And
Oh, really?
I didn't even.
Oh, they're great.
I didn't even watch all the films. I watched like
that's
the
too
first
bad.
one and it didn't make any sense.
Oh,
to me.
that's too bad because
I like
from
a life.
from 3 on, they're great. 3 is like one of the. I would put that in the top 20 best films I've ever seen. 3 is Alfonso Cuarón, who is.
Oh
an
wait, I
amazing
did
director.
see 3 because it was visually stunning.
That one was
Yeah,
amazing. That was
I
a
still don't understand
great
it.
kids movie. Yeah, I don't have to. Just love it.
Pretty things.
Yeah. That one was a really good. But the books really are good, especially when they start picking up people start dying very horrible ways. I was like, oh, this is pleasant. This is great. I thought it was gonna be a little kids book, and there are people getting murdered left and right.
I mean, it's on my list of things to read, but it doesn't have any pictures, and that kind of
Oh,
slows me down a little bit.
Yeah, why doesn't she do a comic book for that? Like, don't write prequels.
Yeah, just do
Do a graphic
Exactly.
novel of that. People
They
would
do a
read that.
Buffy comic book.
Yeah.
They do a Charmed
Firefly.
comic book. They do a Firefly comic book.
Oh, I love the Dark Tower series.
The Dark Tower series. Yeah, we could do a Harry Potter comic book series. There you go. Next idea.
Yeah, right there. We get 10% for thinking of that.
15%.
So let's talk a little bit about the store. Besides comic books, you also have figurines. What question am I trying to ask here, Matt?
I don't know.
I'm doing a very
What do
poor
you
job.
have here at your store?
Yes.
We can talk about?
we
Horrible at interviewing.
we do comic books and action figures and back issues and banks and busts, and we have some classic arcades over there that I don't have turned on right now.
I was wondering about those. How can I play Spider-Man if it's not on?
Well, I can go turn it on if you want to. I mean, it's on free play.
Yeah, all right. We're gonna do a little bit of that. We're gonna do a little bit of X-Men later. So see, that's why you should be down here, Zeus, right now, playing Spider-Man for free on a stand-up console.
I'm not right now because that would interrupt us, but
No.
yes.
Yes. Okay. Fine.
Pay
Whatever.
attention to us. Look at us. We got cameras and mics. We're here.
So where do you think comic books? I mean, you obviously assume you read a lot of them as they come in, so you can talk to people about them.
I try to. Yeah, it's
What-
really hard.
Where do you kind of see the? Well, obviously it started as just almost a way to sell ads to people. It was, to kids. There wasn't much of long story arcs, lots of character development. And now it's a really recognizable form, and people take it very seriously. Hell, it gets made into huge blockbuster movies.
It is now, yeah, definitely. Very happy to see the kind of growth of comic books outside to very popular television shows and popular movies. And not even all concepts are necessarily superhero. I mean, you've got
Right.
Walking Dead is a huge show that's based on a comic that isn't necessarily superheroes.
Yeah, it's gone from I guess something you would ridicule or something only nerds would enjoy to
Mhm.
it's. I mean, I see people now that 10 years ago they would have never picked up a comic book, and
Right,
they're
right.
regularly in a store getting them because the story has become very important. They hire good write. I mean, they want people who are going to write a real, a world that these people inhabit.
Well, you think about the fact that when we were much younger, or when I was much younger, they were typically written for a very young audience, and then those fans grew up and took over the comic books, and now they're writing them. So they're writing what they want to read about.
I guess that's true because Jeff Johns, whenever he talks about it, he would be like, I took these Green Lantern stories that I liked, and I said, okay, that's what I want to change it into. I want to make it, the people that took it seriously and treated him like a real character. That's what I want to do. And you're right. I guess that those people are going in and producing what they want, what makes them happy. I guess that's
Exactly,
so cool.
and it goes just beyond superheroes. I mean, again, I go back to Image Comics doing some great stuff. Ed Brubaker has an amazing book out right now called Fade Out, and it's kind of a pulp style story about Hollywood in 1948, and this young starlet dies, and the screenwriter may be being framed, and it's got gorgeous art by Sean Phillips, and it really has, the medium has evolved into great fiction as opposed to just kids comic books.
Right, yeah. And the art has gone from, and there's a period I noticed when I was reading that about the late 90s, it switched from just being very flat, very, there was a background with just straight color, to it's a full, lush, three-dimensional, like because I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, when I look at the stuff Johns was writing for like Blackest Night, and I was like, I'm going to go grab some stuff from the early 90s. It is so devoid of any kind of detail.
Well, the effects that they can do now, the changes in color and computer technology, that you can take like the Green Lantern symbol and actually have it float off the top of his chest as opposed to put inks around it, and you can actually have that color on top of it.
I never even thought about it like that, but yeah, I guess the technology just allows them to do more. It's just so impressive. And of course, the stories have gotten a lot better too. Do you have a favorite superhero? One that you kind of go to?
I don't know.
I'll help you out. Mine is Scrooge McDuck. That's
Okay.
Oh, I guess he's not a
He is a
superhero.
superhero, yeah,
He's
well.
not a superhero, but although is he? He's rich, like Lex. He's rich, and he travels the world solving crime and having adventures. I don't see how that's really any different from Batman. So,
how about if you had a superpower? What superpower would you want to have?
money. No,
That's just the money.
Let's see. If I had a superpower, gosh, I don't know. Matt, what would you do? Let me think on that one. Probably But see, do the real world implications come in? Because like flying is great until you realize that's all that friction would rip your skin off your
Right,
face.
exactly. You'd fly into a telephone wire and like
exactly
decapitate yourself.
You know, hey, invisibility would be great, except for when your retina turns invisible, it doesn't absorb light, so you'd be blind. So there's.
Or you'd turn invisible and you still have your clothes on. Therefore, in order to completely remain
you'd have to be
invisible,
nude
naked the entire time.
Yeah, and then your wiener's hanging out to get kicked or punched anytime you're in a crowd.
Any problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if money, maybe money, because then I could buy any real world solution. Like an infinite amount of money, that might be the one that I could get by. Because, yeah, every other one, if you could run at super speed, unless something, you would burn all your clothes off, and you would, I don't know.
Super strength,
but
optic
if it was
blast,
if it was just
telepathy.
If I could go with anything, it would probably be telekinesis.
Telekinesis, that's a good one, yeah.
I could just sit on the couch and beers would come right to me. I'll probably use it for nothing at all. Yeah, telekinesis, because you don't have to fly anywhere. You can just be like, then over there.
Yeah, but see, you could turn that into a profession, though. You could make money with your telekinesis.
But you know what? And here's the deal. If you had telekinesis, you could make yourself float. So see,
sure, you could fly.
Yeah,
so
you could fly. So, okay, that's it. I'm going with telekinesis on that. That's what you want to be. Oh, yeah. I would love to be Chris Angel. Good Lord. So, yeah, well, Matt, what would yours be?
I just want a hoverboard. I don't need a special power if that's going to rip my skin off. I just want a hoverboard that works.
And it's 2000. We're closing up on 2015. We need the flying cars and we need the hoverboard. Well, the hoverboard is Back to the Future. That's 2015 when they go. So they got 1 year to make it happen, Mattel. 1 year. I'm excited about that. Richard, I want to say thanks for coming on the show. Anything you want to talk about? You want to lead the discussion a little bit?
No.
No. What do you think selling comics is hard? Try running the show where the people don't talk. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to bring back Clint Werth. Yay. And I think we're just going to have a nice short show today. Mm-hmm. We'll wrap it up, and then we'll go purchase some comic books.
And then you get your ass kicked in some Spider-Man.
Hey, yo, whatever, brother. All right, you're watching Funtime Good Show, broadcasting live from Zeus Comics down on Inwood. That's 1334, right? My memory serves me correct. I did not look above the door just then and see that. All right, well, you're watching Funtime Good Show. We'll be back in just a moment with Clint Werth. We're back. You're watching Funtime Good Show live from Zeus Comics down in Inwood. Come in and buy a bunch of stuff. Make Richard happy. He's a very lonely man here today without Kelly, and he needs some attention.
I saw a pretty sweet Tim Tebow action figure.
Really?
I'm pretty sure they'll let that go for whatever you want to offer.
Well, they had the Michael Vick and dog set, too, that I thought was great.
Did they?
I'll take that.
All right, so we were just talking during the break there about how bad the David Lynch Dune was, and how after watching the documentary, Jodorowsky would have been amazing. And I was saying that David Lynch won't talk about it in interviews. He's horribly embarrassed by it because apparently the studio just kept railing him on every creative idea he had. They were like, nope, you need to do it this way. Nope, you need to do it this way. He's like, well, why did you hire me? I'm like a visionary director. This is like the word. And the only thing he will tell people is don't go watch it. It's awful. It's an embarrassment on my career.
I tried watching it last night after watching Jodorowsky's Dune. Yeah. And I just kept thinking about like what it was supposed to be, and then watching what was in front of me. And I got about 20 minutes in before I was like,
well, what's funny is for me, it's I still like the film, but like I was telling Richard, I saw it when I was a kid, and so it's just that's how the movie is. Yeah. And so just get stuck with it. But
I hadn't seen it in probably 20 years.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
I probably watched it every 2 or 3 years. Just because I love the story. Yeah. And so but I go back and watch it now. I'm like, yeah, this is not a good movie. Like, visually it could have just been so different.
There was no technology available to do it.
No, that film should have been made 10 years later, guaranteed.
It was interesting, like, because they also talked about the casting he would have gone with. And so the Baron would have been Orson Welles instead
how
of.
Amazing would that have been?
And what's his name? I can't remember the name, but Sting.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, they were going to bring in like his own chef to the place. He found him in some restaurant in France. He's like, I will bring this guy with you if you want to just come eat on set and we'll shoot this. Fantastic.
That is amazing.
But Mick Jagger was supposed to do the part that Sting wanted to do.
That is crazy.
A lot of after watching that, it seemed like a lot of things that happened in the David Lynch version were kind of like the poor man's version of some of these ideas.
Well, yeah, because the studio also kept pulling funding because George Jodorowsky's was supposed to be like very expensive for the time.
Well, I mean, how much was he going to pay the artist Dolly? He's going to pay Dolly like $40,000 a minute or something like that. That's what they finally figured out.
Well, that was one of the reasons I heard that they kind of nixed him, and then when they gave it to Lynch, they were like, you have a budget of like a tenth of what he was asking for. You got to make the movie for that.
Yeah.
So it was very disappointing. But so go watch it. It's Jodorowsky's Dune, is the film, right? Is that still in theaters?
No. I think it's on
So
Netflix, though.
Oh.
No, it's
No, I lied.
it's on Amazon
There you go.
streaming. I think it's like $3 or $2.
Oh, that's not too bad at all.
Yeah.
I saved $3 and may or may not have it torrented.
It may or may not be on the Pirate Bay, which is not a thing, so you shouldn't go there.
If
That
you
would be a waste of your time.
do that, just know that you probably won't get the subtitles like I did the first time.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is interesting, trying to piece together, because like two of his producers were French, and then Jodorowsky will jump between English and Spanish throughout it.
Oh, wow.
So they also subtitle what he says in English.
All right, so this may be the one. Who produced
a little
this?
rough.
Is it produced by Jodorowsky about his experience, or was this a third party making it about his experience?
Pretty sure it was a third party. I'm not sure.
Okay. So now I don't feel so bad if they don't make the $3 off.
Right, exactly. And besides which, if you wanted to watch that foreign version, just like we watched a little Seijun Suzuki the other day, some Tokyo Drifter, and Dylan had never seen it.
It was amazing, though.
On YouTube. There was
What
no
a
subtitles.
great movie. It was even better because I'm like, you know what? I don't have to understand. You don't need the words to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
kind of helps in a documentary, though.
Yeah, in the documentary, it does. But I mean, this, like, well, those guys are fighting, and that guy just pulled a knife. I have no idea what's going on. It's just like real life. I don't have. So no, that was, what was the name of that one? Tokyo Drifter, right? Just amazing. That was so great. All right, guys, we're gonna be wrapping it up. We're gonna be hanging out here for a little while afterwards, but we encourage you to come down to Zeus Comics down on 1334 Inwood Road. Check out some comics. They got tons of past issue stuff here. We'll take a look at this. So they got obviously what's on the wall. Oh, come on, little. There we go. So obviously we have what's on the big wall back there. See these guys right here in the little carts? Yeah, that's all back issues of some of your favorite comics. You can get into new ones. They're down to as little as $1 up from there. So it's a great place if you just want to go get some older issues. And try out some characters if you've never been with them before. See what you think. I guess we're gonna have to recommend East of West.
I like East of West. East of West is good.
I'm gonna go grab that one today.
He also mentioned
nothing but good things to say about that.
Manhattan Projects.
Yeah,
that's a favorite of mine now.
I was debating on that one over and over again. I'm still doing the Turtles, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Eastman writing it, which is just great. I mean, he's had so many. And what's great is what they've chosen
are there
to
new
retcon.
ones or
oh yeah,
okay.
And
about are you 30 years behind on your back?
Eastman's writing them again.
Okay,
and he'll even do some of the art occasionally. But he's had 30 years to rethink the characters, and what he chose to change this time around is perfect. Like it's a great. Like one of the first things I say is it starts, if you start with issue 1, I totally recommend that. But Raphael, before they became the Ninja Turtles, Raphael wandered off as a turtle, so they only got 3 collected by Splinter. So for the first 15 years of their life, they know that there's a brother missing, but they've never met Raphael. And Raphael's been living like a homeless person on the streets in the shadows for 15 years. Amazing. So they all wear the red bandanas in honor of their missing brother. But that's cool because in the original comics, when they first went into color, they all had red bandanas. So it's a little bit of an homage to them starting out with the red bandanas. Then when Raphael finally does, they meet, and Raphael meets Casey Jones and helps protect him from his abused father. So it's really cool because Casey Jones gets introduced way earlier, and he and Raphael are best friends. And they've known each other for like 10 years now. So it's all the characters are there, but how they've recombined them to make these different relationships. So Raphael is definitely more away from the group, more brooding and anger-filled from not having a family for his entire life. And when they finally do bring him back into the fold, they meet him at a fight in the parking lot. They're like, holy shit, you're a Ninja Turtle too, just like us. For Christmas, they give him a red bandana so that he feels part of the group. And it's like cool because they're like, oh, that's just how they started. And then the rest of them open their presents, and it's all their different color bandanas. So Eastman transitions them from the all red into the multicolored, but in a way that Raphael feels like a part of the group, and then the group kind of expands. And it was just great.
Did you see a couple years ago now that Turtles Forever movie that came out on, I think it was the WB at the time?
I own it. I haven't got to see it.
That might be my favorite Ninja Turtles
I've
thing.
heard it's really, really good.
Because the way...
That's the animated one, right?
No.
Well,
then it's not a Ninja Turtle movie, my friend.
It's it was the current iteration of Ninja Turtles, and then they get lost in time, and it turns out all the different versions of the Ninja Turtles exist in different
No, I have
planes,
okay. This
and
is
so they go back to
that
the
was
80s.
it's the series finale to the one that ran in not the 80s but the late 90s.
Mhm.
It's a 2-hour long movie
Yeah.
that works as the series finale. Yeah, the 80s Turtles meet the 90s Turtles. Oh, it was awesome.
And then what you
It was so
realize
great.
is like, because they were probably, that set of Ninja Turtles was the most well-rounded, with each turtle having its own personality. And so when they go back, they find that all the 80s Turtles are basically Michelangelo.
Yeah,
And
they
then
are.
when they go back to the original, where they're in the black and white comic world,
Yeah.
all the Ninja Turtles are like an even darker version of
Oh
Raphael.
yeah, I mean they kill Shredder in the very first episode.
They
so
kill
it's
Shredder in the first like 2 seconds
It's
when they
amazing.
show up there. And
I always
so-
liked it in the movie, the very first, which is still my favorite because it was so dark. It was wonderful. They kill Shredder in the movie. Most people don't realize that. They're like, no, they throw him in the garbage truck. Yeah, and then Casey Jones leans on the lever and it crushes him to death. Then they bring him back in the second movie. But I'm like, no, they stuck to that. Like they totally straight up murdered a guy.
Yeah.
So, but no, that Turtles in Time that was utterly amazing because at one point, Michelangelo's like, oh, they got their initials on their belts. That's totally cool. So, yeah, I can highly recommend that one too.
It's weird though. It seems like the Ninja Turtles was always, wherever age I was at or what I was
We should do a
into,
Ninja
there was always a
Turtles
version
special.
that was specific for it. Because
Yeah.
the 80s, if you go back and watch the 80s version, which is
I
probably the most popular and
love-
most formative on me,
I own every episode.
I go back and
still
watch
them.
it, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe that this was a thing. It's just so
I haven't seen the new
weird
movie.
and silly.
I haven't seen the new movie. I'm assuming like just because again, sometimes if you like a series, you're gonna like it. Even if it's the worst of the series, you're gonna go, well, it still had Ninja Turtles in it. Even if it was the worst one, I got to see Ninja Turtles instead of Transformers.
Yeah.
You know, so if it's gonna be bad, I'd rather see my favorite characters in it than something else.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten a chance to see the new Michael Bay movie.
I'll probably see it eventually. I'm not going to go to.
That's what I'm not gonna rush
for
out
it,
to go
yeah.
see it.
It's a good thing 'cause it's not a theater anymore. So
Well, yeah. So if we rushed
Is it
out,
at the
we would
Dollar
be
Theater?
very-
Can we go to the want to go to the Dollar Theater and watch
the
it?
Hollywood theater.
Get some dollar hot dogs.
Clint and I are gonna be real disappointed when we show up. Turtles, you idiots!
I saw the 3D animated one when I was going to Blinn College.
How was that
in
one?
Brenham. It was pretty good. I liked it.
I own it. I haven't seen it yet.
But when we went, it was me and 2 other guys from Blinn, and we were the only people in the theater. It was a small town with it was maybe 6-screen theater. We were the only people in there to see Ninja Turtles.
Did you ever see anything on the Iris out in Terrell, Texas, Matt?
Oh, of course, yes.
This was the one that was just a little.
The counselor, I believe I saw.
Well, I went and saw Clear and Present Danger, and well, I don't know why. We'll end the story of the show on this today. Well, we were watching. There's a part where a train comes in, on the shot, and it's like, and they're having a conversation. The train's really loud, and then it cuts to another scene, and the sound keeps going. It cuts to an office scene, and the train sound keeps going. And I'm like, that is a really interesting audio choice to. I assume they're going to cut back or something, and then it kept going, and it kept going. I'm like, why are they continuing to roll the train? And then it dawned on me there was a train going by behind the theater, and it was such a low piece of crap theater that the train would just roar through the movie. And then it wasn't until I watched The Little Rascals later, the same thing. There was a train in the middle of the movie for no reason. It was wonderful. So
I had my first date there.
your first, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's very nice.
Yeah, her mom came with us. It was a pleasant evening. I have no idea what we watched. We went to Red Lobster beforehand. I do remember that.
It was a classy date.
Yeah, it was.
So, all right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up today's episode of Fun Time Good Show, brought to you live from Zeus Comics. Come down here and see Richard spend some money with the lovely man. And next week, who are we going to have on next? Next week is the Lollybombs. So they're going to be back in studio. They're doing a show on the 5th and 6th, I believe.
Right.
So they're going to be back in studio with us. They're always a lot of fun. I want to say thank you to Richard. You were a pretty good guest. I thought you were all right. That's pretty good. So you're watching Fun Time Good Show. Tune in next week and catch up with the Lollybombs. See you later.